Aladdin the Animated Series Lost Episode, Jasmine's Three Wishes. Disney has been making movies for a long time, ever since it all started. However, I loved Disney princesses movies the most, like Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and etc. However, one of my favorite Disney princess movies was Aladdin, the live-action version that came out this year, 2019, and the classic from 1992. For those who never heard of Aladdin, it's based on the orphan tales involving Aladdin and what happens to him in the middle of East. Now I was only know little about the orphan tales of Aladdin because I was told in different ways what happened to him, and it's all over the place. I haven't seen the Aladdin movie at least. I have seen the Aladdin movie at least 100 times from VHS to DVD. I even saw the cartoon animated series that was made in 1994. And the series ended around 1995, and I sure, of course, could use a reboot of my childhood. It all started back in 2017, which was 2 years ago. that I saw a really different episode of the Aladdin animated series that made me look at the show at a little bit differently around with the Aladdin movies from 1992 and the 2019 remake. But I still don't understand why that is the answer. It all started when I was taking my dog on a walk. It was a cool morning since the day it was starting to get hot later. I decided I would take my dog for a walk, for a short walk, since it would be too hot for me to walk my dog. However, as I was walking my dog, I looked to see something on the driveway of a house. There were no cars in the driveway. Obviously, no one sold the house. So I walked towards what was on the driveway. I crouched down to see what seems to be an iPhone 7 who would leave an iPhone in the driveway, I asked myself. I went from door to door asking people if they knew the phone belonged to, but no one claimed the ownership of the phone. I wondered if I should just leave the phone where it was, or take it home and see if I can call someone and say that I found whoever's phone it was. Without any hesitation, I picked the phone. I picked the phone in my purse and decided I would call the person about the phone and say that I have found it when I get home. Late when I got back home from walking my dog, I have turned the phone on to see that there was no security code to keep people from hacking into the phone. Stupid people. For not putting any passwords from having their phones hacked. I muffled to myself. So I popped on the phone to see all the apps were on the iPhone 7, and it worked just fine. I looked in the contacts, but there were people that I didn't know, so I decided that someone might have wanted to get rid of the phone. So I looked at the notes that they had on their phone. I found a note that disturbed me. Now let me read what the note said. Hello, this is Ben. If you find this iPhone 7, please don't look for me. I wanted to get rid of this phone because I got a new one. So whoever found this phone, please take really good care of it. That was weird. That this Ben person wrote. I guess he could have maybe traded in and instead of leaving it on the driveway. Well, I found it. So what was the big deal? I had an iPhone 7 myself, and it was the silver one, and the phone I picked up was a gold edition. I decided to go through some apps until I decided to check the iTunes store. However, I looked at the recent purchases, and you can see can see some stuff on there. There were a few movies like It from 1990, Titanic, Robin Hood, and a few other movies that I have seen. What I did find was Aladdin the animated series. Damn, I loved that show as a kid. The Aladdin animated series took place around the time after the Aladdin a sequel, Return of Jafar, that I decided that I would watch an episode of my childhood show. After scrolling through the episodes that I have seen, I found an episode that I had no idea how it appeared. At first, I thought it was the final episode from the animated series, but the title on one of the episodes said Jasmine's 3 wishes. I wasn't sure if that episode ever existed, so I did some research on my laptop, and sure enough, the episode name wasn't there. Without any hesitation, I plugged in my earbuds in the iPhone 7 and checked the battery on it. The battery was 45%. That I didn't mind me, as I was going to see anyone would want this phone later, or I can just keep it as just for games and internet use. I tapped on the episode that I wanted to watch on the phone to play the episode of the animated TV series of Aladdin. The episode started with the intro that was from season 3 of the animated series. I was so amazed that I get to see my childhood return after years of not seeing the show, since it got canceled due to the lack of people watching the show as much as they did years ago. The episode title came up, and it said Jasmine's 3 wishes. It was written in golden letters like the like the show mainly used for every title of the episode. The scene started up at the doors to Jasmine's bedroom. Aladdin wakes up to the door and knocks on Jasmine's door. He called out for her name while knocking on the door. "Jasmine, it's me. I'm back," Aladdin called out as Jasmine opened her door. She kisses Aladdin's cheek and giggled. "Hi, Ali," Jasmine replied as she pulled her lover inside. As she closed her bedroom door behind her and looked at Aladdin. "What is going on?" Jasmine asked. She can tell that Aladdin looked like he just got into a fight with someone that involved a lot of yelling. "Jasmine, Jasmine, how can I put it?" As Aladdin thought for a moment before speaking to his girlfriend. "Jafar is back," he sighed. Jasmine looked at Aladdin with horror on her face. She was shocked. "Why? Why? I thought he was dead," Jasmine asked while stuttering with fear. Well, that's what I thought too. But your father told me about it," Aladdin replied as he pulled Jasmine close to him. I wanted peace, and now Jafar is ruining it." Aladdin kisses Jasmine's forehead and rubbed the back of her head. I won't let him hurt you, Jazz. If he places a hand on you to hurt you, I will make sure that is the last thing he will ever do." "I am scared of Jafar, Aladdin, but I think I'll be okay," Jasmine replied as she secretly then started to cry. She's had nightmares about Jafar hurting her and even wanting to marry her when she wanted to marry someone who loved her. Aladdin noticed that Jasmine was crying, so he calmly talks soft things to his girlfriend to calm her down from crying. "I know you're scared, Jasmine, but we'll bring Jafar down with our 4 friends," Aladdin replied to his girlfriend as Abu the monkey showed up along with the magic carpet. Abu said to Aladdin, he in his monkey language that the Sultan would want to see him, which he looked at Jasmine. He handed her the magic lamp. I gotta go, Jasmine. So take care of this lamp while I'm gone. I will be right back. I promise. Jasmine nodded, and with Aladdin, along with Abu and Carpet, left the room. Maybe someone can help," Jasmine said as she rubbed her hand on the magic lamp. As the genie appeared from the lamp and looked at Jasmine, she wasn't herself as she was crying from being horrified by the fact that Jafar is back and wants to take over Agrabah. "Jasmine, how's my..." Before the genie could finish, he noticed that Jasmine was crying. "Jasmine, what's wrong?" Genie asked his friend as Jasmine looked at the genie while her fear of Jafar was coming back to her in a flash. "Jafar is back," Jasmine sobbed. "Aladdin told me and I'm scared of him." Jasmine pulled into a hug by the genie, who felt sorry for his friend. Why are you scared of him, Jasmine? I thought he was gone forever, Genie asked. I'm scared of him because I had nightmares of him, and one of them was him hurting me. Jasmine sobbed again, with tears rolling down her cheeks. The genie wiped her tears away from her face. What was the nightmare about? Genie asked the princess. Aladdin would want to know. I had the conversation, so I needed to. I heard the conversation, so I need to know. Well, Jasmine paused for a moment before calming herself down from crying. My nightmare was about my past. When Jafar was here in the palace, he killed me, Jasmine replied before she cried again. A fresh mountain of tears. Jasmine, why didn't you tell us? Genie and I were Jasmine, why didn't you tell us? Genie and I were both confused, and did Jafar want to kill Jasmine? I had no idea. I know he was evil, but murder? I didn't tell you because I thought you wouldn't believe me, Jasmine replied. Jasmine, of course we would believe you. Genie hugged Jasmine again, drying her tears. You just gotta tell the truth. Aladdin will understand, Jazz. You think he will believe? You think he will believe in me? Jasmine asked Genie. I know he will, Jasmine, Genie replied as he had an idea in his head. Let me tell you what, Jasmine. You tell Aladdin and your father about what scares you about Jafar, and in exchange, I'll give you 3 wishes. Jasmine liked the idea, so she accepted the genie's deal. Later on that night at dinner, where Jasmine was quiet most of the time, Aladdin noticed this along with her father. Jasmine, are you okay? Aladdin asked his girlfriend. Aladdin, can I talk to you and my father for a minute? Jasmine asked. Of course, dear, the Sultan said as he and Aladdin both stood up along with Jasmine. They both walked out of the dining room. Are you okay, Jasmine? Her father asked when he noticed the worry in his daughter's eyes. You can tell us, Jazz. We'll understand, Aladdin added as Jasmine sighed after taking a deep breath. Ever since I heard that Jafar is back, I've been scared since, Jasmine began. I had nightmares of Jafar killing me verbally and physically. She started to cry again as Aladdin hugged his girlfriend. Oh, Jasmine, why didn't you tell us? Aladdin asked. I didn't tell you guys, Jasmine started as she chokes on her sobs, because I was scared. Because I was scared that if I tell you about what scares me about Jafar the most, you might not believe in me, Jasmine sobbed again after finishing her sentence. We gotta keep an eye on her, Aladdin, and we better make sure Jafar doesn't come back. Ever, the Sultan said to Aladdin, who nodded in agreement. When the when the next scene transitions to Jasmine talking to the genie in her room. So they believed what you said about Jafar? Genie asked. Yeah, Jasmine replied. Her eyes were still a bit red from crying. It made me feel better. All right, so let me know what your free wishes are, and we'll be all good. Genie said to the princess. Well, my first wish is, Jasmine thought of her first wish is for a moment before she finally came up with a wish. Genie, I wish to have Jafar and everything what he did erased from my friends' minds along with mine, Jasmine said. All right, Jazz. Now it takes a minute, Genie replied as he used his magic to erase the memories of Jafar from Jasmine's mind along with her friends' mind. Will this prevent me from having nightmares of Jafar? Jasmine asked. The wish will take effect after one good sleep, Genie replied. Aladdin then walks in the bedroom to give his princess a hug. Ready for bed, my love? Aladdin asked his girlfriend. Jasmine smiled at Aladdin and kissed him. Yes, I am, Aladdin. I want to ask you something, Jasmine said as she and Aladdin both sat down on their bed. Excuse me. Sat down on their bed and they sleep together. Sure, Jasmine. I hope you're okay, Aladdin said. Is Jafar in the palace? From what I found out, the thought of Jafar suddenly got back to Jasmine like a bullet. Oh, him? I don't know, Jasmine replied. The wish that we can all forget about him, and we did. Genie granted my wish. He gave you 3 wishes? Aladdin asked. The genie then came out of nowhere and surprised the couple. Yeah, and now she has 2 wishes left, Genie replied as he disappeared inside the lamp. It's true, Jasmine added as she shook her hands with that as her hands that were shaking with fear. Aladdin noticed this and he wrapped his arms around his girlfriend. Don't worry, Jasmine. Since Genie made us forget about him, Aladdin replied to his girlfriend as she hugs him. Later at night, Jafar starts banging on the doors to Agrabah. The whole kingdom woke up to this and started to be prepared. What is going on here? Aladdin stormed in the hallway to see Jafar bust the door open. He looked at Aladdin with his eyes in anger. Where is she? Jafar demanded with rage. He was starting to think that this would have been a good episode. I was starting to think that this would have been a good episode if it was aired, but they didn't air this. But they didn't air this then. But now I would understand why. You can't have her, Jafar. You you don't just go somewhere and don't come back, Aladdin replied with anger in his voice. Jafar started to grab Aladdin and started to strangle him. Stop! A voice shouted. Stop! A voice shouted. Jafar and everyone else in front of the palace stopped and turned to see Jasmine. Jasmine? Jafar asked as in a surprise as Jasmine looked at her friend Genie. You can kiss your dreams goodbye, Jafar. I ain't going to be with someone who doesn't love me. Jasmine spoke loud and clear. Jafar lunges at Jasmine and tries to grab her. Jasmine screamed as she struggles to get free from Jafar as he grips tightness on the princess. You will listen to me, princess. Show me respect for once, Jafar growled as Aladdin coughed from being almost strangled. Got up and noticed the scene. What was going on? Jafar started to hit Jasmine. Jafar, get away from her! Aladdin screamed as he pulled Jafar away from the princess. Jasmine rubbed the lamp and Genie and looked at Genie. You gotta do something, Jazz. You want this to stop, do you? Genie panicked. When he was greeted by Jafar breaking into the palace and abusing the princess. Okay, Jasmine sobbed. She was scared of what was happening, but she had to do something to stop the violence. Genie, I wish for the fighting to stop and to disappear Jafar for good, Jasmine said. With that being said, the genie did what Jasmine wished for. Jafar disappeared, and everyone else was surprised that Jasmine was brave enough to stop the fight. Jasmine, Aladdin was stunned that his girlfriend stood up to what Jafar did. She was covered in bruises from Jafar hitting her. I was starting to get a little weirded out at this point. I know that abuse was mentioned in kids shows that talked about that but in a Disney cartoon, I can understand why they did that, but this episode is just as dark as it already is. I can see what Jasmine I can see what Jasmine was scared of Jafar. I can see why Jasmine was scared of Jafar since I have seen the Aladdin movie. I had no other choice, Jasmine broke down into tears as Aladdin rushed to her side. Seeing the bruises on the princess, he left. He felt sorry, but at least Jasmine did what she could. I know, sweetheart, you did what you had to do, but you saved us. It will be okay now, Jazz. Aladdin comforted his girlfriend as Iago flew up to the couple. At least it didn't end messy, Iago replied. Abu and Carpet shut the doors to the palace as Genie hugged his friends. We won the battle once again, Genie said happily as he pulled Jasmine's father into the hug. We couldn't have done it without Jasmine, Aladdin said as Jasmine looked at her boyfriend. Now that I now that I have the final wish, I would like to have it for the, I would like to have the best for last, Jasmine said. The dream. The dream. 2 nights later, Jasmine woke up to be in her room, not beside Aladdin. Aladdin, where are you? Jasmine asked. Just then a loud slam was heard, just as someone slammed the door shut. That scared the living spit out of me by the door slamming so loud. I had turned the volume down a bit. I had to turn the volume down a bit. Looking for me, princess? Jafar asked with an evil chuckle. Jafar, what have you done with Aladdin? Jasmine asked as Jafar started walking towards the princess as she backs up on the wall. Shut up! Jafar hits Jasmine by punching her in the stomach. Time to say goodbye, princess. Jafar was about to strike at Jasmine when she closed her eyes back in reality. No! Jasmine screamed when she woke up. She sat up and turned to her side to see Aladdin, who was sleeping. She began to cry as the prince woke up to hear cries from his girlfriend. Jasmine, Aladdin groaned when he was waking up. Why did you scream? It's 2 in the... Aladdin stopped when the princess started sobbing. Jasmine, what's wrong? Aladdin asked her. I had a nightmare, Aladdin. It was about Jafar again. She choked in her sobs. Oh, Jasmine. Aladdin was then cut off when Jasmine began to cry. He sat up and hugged the princess. What happened 2 nights ago? You said what happened 2 nights ago scared you so much, did it? Yes, Jasmine sobbed. Jafar walked in my room. He hit me and then he tried to kill me, Jasmine cried again in Aladdin's arms as the prince held his princess. Oh, Jasmine Aladdin rubbed the princess's back. Jafar is gone now, and I promise he will never come back. I know, Aladdin, but I'm having nightmares about it again, Jasmine replied. Look, Jazz, I will never let anyone near you. I will never let them touch you. I will never let them hurt you or kill you or even lay a hand on you, Aladdin said protectively to his girlfriend. Thanks, Aladdin. Your voice keeps me calm, Jasmine replied as she looks up at Aladdin. He moves his arms to her face and wipes his tears off her face. I know how to comfort a princess, especially if she's upset, Aladdin started. Now, Jasmine, when we go back to sleep, I will hold you close. Aladdin held Jasmine tight as Jasmine slowly cried the last of her tears. Thanks, Aladdin, but can I summon the genie for a minute? Jasmine asked as Aladdin handed her the lamp. Sure thing, sweetheart. Aladdin replied as Jasmine rubbed the magic lamp and Genie appeared. What is going on? Genie was groggily from waking up from his sleep. Don't people know not to wake me up like 2 in the genie noticed Jasmine and Aladdin, who summoned him from the magic lamp. Hey, Al and Jazz, why did you two wake me up? Sorry for waking you up, but can you do me and Jasmine a favor? Aladdin asked. Of course, anything you all need, Genie replied as Jasmine and Aladdin looked at each other. Jasmine, after we all have been through with the whole Jafar issue and that is now out of the way, I would like to ask you something, Aladdin said. Sure, Aladdin, what is it? Jasmine asked. I would like us to start a new life, both of us together, Aladdin replied. Jasmine's smile was beginning to show on her face. Really? Are you saying? Jasmine was cut off by Aladdin, who placed a finger on her lips to stop her from talking. I am saying that I want to get married, Jasmine. I want to get married to you and have a family, Aladdin replied. Oh, Aladdin, Jasmine hugged her boyfriend. Yes, of course I will marry you. Jasmine looked at the genie and she had one last wish left. Now by this point I knew a happy ending was gonna happen since I knew that most TV shows and movies have a happy ending. Well, at least most kids' movies and TV shows. Genie, I wish to have Jafar's nightmares disappear forever, Jasmine said as Genie nodded and granted Jasmine's last wish. She smiled at the genie. Thank you, Jasmine said as she and Aladdin both fell asleep together. The end credits rolled and the episode ended as the screen then faded to black before the phone screen flashed to play the play episode. That was an interesting episode, I said to myself as I looked at the phone battery. It was 10%. It was 10%, so I plugged in the phone. Then I went out to do some stuff such as grocery shopping and other things that I got to do. When I got back to my house, I looked at the phone I picked up to see the phone was charged up to 59%. I unhooked the phone I hooked up the phone I found while walking my dog from the charger. I wanted to play the episode again. However, the episode suddenly was removed and was replaced with the original series final. I was surprised that Aladdin animated series had an episode talking about murder and whatnot. Since it did, why didn't it air on TV? For that I will never know. I always wondered if the episode talking about murder to kids on how much it hurts. Why would this episode not air at the time? It is either too dark for kids or maybe it's best for kids not to know.